All right, here we go. Video solutions to Unit 11, worksheet DL number 1. DL stands for the distance learning, which we're in right now. Mr. Trutna here, Math 2. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over all the odd numbered problems, so 1, 3, 5, and 7. So number 1, number 3, 1 through 4 actually, we're expanding each binomial. So number 1, we have the quantity x plus 7 to the second power. So keep in mind that this means that you actually have, since the exponent is a 2, you have two sets of x plus 7s multiplied together. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to write out this expression as x plus 7 multiplied by itself, x plus 7. Notice we're multiplying by itself 2 times, which is what this exponent is telling us to do. Okay, and so then we're going to multiply the x plus 7, that binomial, times itself, x plus 7, which is actually a binomial. And the strategy that we learn to multiply a binomial times a binomial is we use the area model, which is the magic rectangle. So you're going to draw the magic rectangle. You're going to take the first terms, x plus 7, and write it along the top. So put the x here, and then for the 7, shift it way over here and put plus 7. So that reminds you that it's a positive 7. Since there are two different terms, you're going to divide the rectangle into two pieces vertically. Then the second terms, the second x plus 7, you're going to write along the left side. Put the x here, put the plus 7 like this. And once again, since there's two terms, you're going to divide this up horizontally. So then what we're going to do is we are going to multiply always the left side of the rectangle times the top of the rectangle, and we're going to do that for each of the 4 individual rectangles. So for this top left rectangle, we're going to multiply x times x. And we're multiplying because technically we're finding the area of each individual rectangle. So x to the first power times x to the first power is x to the second power. So x times x is x to the second power. To figure out the top right rectangle, we're going to multiply the left side of it, which is x, times the top, which is positive 7. So x times 7 is 7x. To figure out what goes in the bottom left rectangle, we're going to take the left side of it, which is 7. We're going to multiply it by the top, which is x. 7 times x is 7x. And then to get the last bottom right rectangle, we're going to take its left side, which is positive 7. We're going to multiply it by the length of its top, which is positive 7. And remember, you're multiplying, don't add. 7 times 7 is 49. Okay, so then your answer would be these 4 results added up. Okay? So your answer would be the result of x squared plus 7x plus 7x plus 49. And that would be your final answer to number 1 if there was nothing that you could combine to make like terms. But as you can see, we can combine the 7x with the 7x, the positive 7x with the 7x, and that would give me a final answer for number 1 of x squared plus 14x plus 49. So there's number 1. Okay, moving on to number 3. We have x minus 8, the quantity x minus 8 to the second power. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to rewrite this as x minus 8 twice, because this second power means we're going to take the base, which is x minus 8, and we're going to multiply it by itself twice. Okay, and then we're going to multiply this out by using the area model, which we termed as the magic rectangle. Okay, so draw your rectangle. Along the top, put the first terms, the x and the minus 8, and shift the minus 8 way over here. So you remember that we're going to treat that as a negative 8. Divide it vertically in half. The x minus 8 in the second parentheses right along the left side. So put the x here. Put the minus 8 like that. Divide this up horizontally. And then we're going to multiply always the length and the width, or the left and the top, to figure out what goes in each rectangle. So this top left rectangle, we would go x times x, so that's x squared. The top right rectangle, we're going to go x, and then we're going to multiply it by negative 8, so that would be negative 8x. The bottom left rectangle, we're going to go negative 8, multiply it by x. Negative 8 times x is negative 8x. And the bottom right rectangle, we're going to go negative 8 times negative 8, so that would be positive 64. So then once again, my answer is going to be the result of all 4 of these added up together. Okay, so my answer would be x to the second power plus a negative 8x plus another negative 8x plus 64. And if there's anything that's like terms that you can combine, you go ahead and combine them together. So you can see that we can combine these two 8x's, those negative 8x's together. That would combine to make negative 16x. So my final answer would be x to the second power minus 16x plus 64. Okay, so that would be number 3. All right, moving on to number 5. So in numbers 5 through 8, it said find the value of c to complete the square. So what we're doing is, remember the term that I introduced last time is, essentially what we're going to be making is, we're going to be making what is known as a perfect square trinomial. Okay, and this term will come in handy when we start solving these equations. But today we're just figuring out the value of c. So how do we figure out the value of c? Remember, there's a process to it. So what you do is you take this value right here, the coefficient in front of the x, which we call the b value, and then what you're going to do is you're going to take that b value, which is positive 16, you're going to divide it by 2, get that result, which is 8, and then you're going to take that and raise it to the second power. So 8 to the second power is equal to 64, and that's going to be your value of c. So in this case, c is going to be 64. Okay, number 7, following the same concept, we have x squared minus 26x plus c. So we're going to take our b value, which is negative 26, and we're going to follow the same process to find the value of c to complete the square. So we're going to divide it by 2. Negative 26 divided by 2 is negative 13. Then we're going to take that result and raise it to the second power, and negative 13 to the second power is a positive 169. So that right there is your c value. So number 7, c is a positive 169. And you will notice as you guys do these problems, every time you complete the square, the c value will always turn out to be a positive number. Okay, so there you go. There's some solutions to worksheet DL number 1.